Pure Goon day 20, no, 35, 6, programming every day until I get a full-time job. Um, yeah, I've been working on this like a lot today, but off camera because like, dude, yesterday I just felt like such a fucking idiot that like I was like kind of embarrassed to like kind of expose my thinking and stuff on camera. So I did some stuff like off camera, and then so my approach in here, right? And where is it? If we're in visual mode and then we do like a lot of logic, right? Um, it's not really scalable because it's just going to increase in complexity, and I'm just going to add more rules and stuff like that and mess with the existing rules. And I realized like, okay, like this isn't a good solution, or it's like it's not a viable what okay, it's not good is not the word I'm looking for, but it's not a smart solution or like a clever solution, right? So what I was starting to do instead was like come up with the logic that so for visual line, right? How I have it is I realized like, oh, like I'm doing this very similar thing differently in the fact that I don't do any logic in the rendering loop, right? Because what this if statement is a part of a for loop, which is a part of and no, and that for loop kind of creates the surfaces and the coordinates of where to render or blit those surfaces on our screen, right? I realized that putting all that logic in the rendering section is probably not a good idea. Like, try to minimize that. So, I was thinking instead to do something very similar. I don't know why I didn't think of this earlier, but something similar to this, which I started here, and I'm gonna kind of explain my thought process on. So, in the editor, right? Let me pull up Obsidian real quick, where like there's like only a couple of things that you can do. So we press V, right? We're in visual mode starting at this R. There's only a couple of things we can do, right? We can go right, we can go left, we can go up, and we can go down. And since we have those only four motions, like I thought it would be clever to do it how I did it before, and like if it's this motion, we do this. If it's that motion, we do that, right? So for going left, let's say, right? I can either go left and make the furthest left thing, furthest left x and okay. So first, I was thinking about we need to store four variables, right? And those four variables are the top x, the top y, the bottom x, and the bottom y. And what those mean is, so top x is what is the x coordinate of the topmost line in the visual section, and what is the bottom x coordinate of the same thing, right? Because if you think about it, every other line, assuming that there are, okay, say we have three lines highlighted, right? So we start at 29, we go there, we go there. So we only need to store this place, which is top x, this place, which is bottom x, and this y, which is top y, and this y, which is bottom y, right? That's all the information we need because we know that if something is within this range, but it's not the top or the bottom, then we just highlight the entire line, right? So, yeah, we need those for, let me start a timer as well because I don't have a lot of time today, unfortunately, but 15 minutes. Okay. And okay, back to the four actions. So we can go left, extending the the furthest left thing. We can go, or say we're on somewhere here, right? We can go left, decreasing the furthest right thing. right? So we can go right like this, or we can go right like that. I know those are the same ones. You can go right like this, or right like that, right? So it's going to be super similar logic, I think. So what I have so far is, first, like these things could potentially be none, right? Because for example, J is going down, right? So this would be false, but this wouldn't, this would just be none, right? Because if we press J, then in the J function in the editor class, then we would pass in none here because we're not moving left or right, we're just moving up or down, right? So that's why we need this like check for none here. And if we are going up and the new y coordinate is less than the top, meaning we're going more up than we have ever been before, then we set the new top to our new coordinate. And if we're going, if the new coordinate is less than the bottom, then the new bottom would be the new y coordinate, right? Those are the two cases of going up. So in this case, this else block, we're going down. So if the new y coordinate is, if we're going down, the new y coordinate is greater than visual bottom y, self dot visual bot y is equal to new y chord. What the heck? Give me a sec. New y chord is less than self dot. No, I don't think it'd be like the same thing as this, right? So if the new y coordinate is greater than the top, then we would move the top down. Top y self dot visual top y is new y chord. And okay, if going right, no, what the hell did I do? If going right is not equal to none, new x chord equals self dot her x. If going right, true. So if we're going right, if new x chord is greater than, like this is kind of weird because whatchamacallit, we could, how do we know if we're moving the top x or the bottom x? Fuck. Let me play around with some stuff. So here we would be so here, okay, there are three cases, right? We're either on the same line, we're on the top line, we're on the bottom line. Press V here. I think we just have to check like if the Y position we currently are on is on the bottom, or if it's on the top, then we move the top one, and if it's on the bottom, then we move the bottom one. So where would that go? If we're going right, and self dot cur y is equal to self dot visual top y moving right on top line. If new x chord is greater than self visual top x, self dot visual top x is equal to new x chord. If we're going right on top line, if new x chord going right, the new x coordinate is it's kind of weird here because in this case, this would be top x, that would be bottom x, right? So if we start here, top x would be here, bottom x would be here. Go down, bottom x shifts, and now if we go left, this would be bottom x, this would be top x. Fuck. Okay, if we're going right and the current y is equal to the top y, if the new coordinate is greater than, that would be visual bottom x, self dot visual bottom x is equal to new y coordinate, and if the new x coordinate is it's greater than the top, self dot visual top x is equal to new x chord. Okay. If wait, drawing right is equal to true, and current y is no, this is wrong, because we're making some assumptions and then not following through with those assumptions, because we're assuming that we're on the top line, yet we're doing stuff for the bottom line potentially. So I don't think that's smart here. And I think this is kind of like what made everything so complicated in the main file, right? It was because I was going through all these things and thinking about rendering at the same time. It was like low-key too much to think about. And I was like moving pretty slow. So, okay, so I think moving right on one line, moving left on one line, left on top line, moving right on bottom line, left on bottom line. Okay, I think we gotta organize stuff like this. I think. So if we are moving from side to side, which is what this check is going for, and we grab the new position of our cursor, because that's kind of what we need to set for the boundaries of this. For moving right on one line, if we're moving left on one line, if we're moving right on the bottom line, so if we're moving, okay, let's try to finish this one. Moving right on the top line, what would that mean? We are, okay, so this is, you can move left or right on the bottom line. Is there ever a potential to move? Oh no, there is. So we can move right like this. Ah, okay, that's why, because we can go up or down, and that's like inverse to each other. Fuck, I did not think the logic out there. Like my plan was like, I didn't have a lot of time. And I had thought of the logic like 2 hours ago, but I guess not. Okay. So here on the bottom line, we're moving left or right. Here on the top line, we're moving left or right. So on one line, moving left or right. Okay. I think this is it for today, but yeah, I know where to go next though. All right, awesome. Bye-bye.